Veteran actor Govardhan Asrani, popularly known as Asrani, passed away in Mumbai at the age of 84 after a prolonged illness. Admitted to Bharatiya Arogya Nidhi Hospital with fluid in his lungs, his last rites were performed privately at Santa Cruz Crematorium in accordance with his wish for a peaceful farewell. Over a career spanning 5 decades and more than 350 films, Asrani became an icon of comic timing, delivering unforgettable performances in classics like Chupke Chupke, Bawarchi, Abhiman, and the legendary Sholay. Now, beyond acting, he also directed and starred in films such as Chala Murari, Hero Banne, and Salaam Mem Saab, and worked successfully in Gujarati cinema as well. A prayer meeting is expected to be held by his family soon. I am being joined by our senior news editor Uday Pratap Singh. Sir, of course, a very sad day. A very popular and prolific actor Asrani, who in fact passed away last night. Tributes are also pouring in. A prayer meeting is expected to be held. How are you seeing these reactions that are coming in with regards to the legendary actors passing away?
Absolutely, Malvika. While in fact the entire nation was celebrating Diwali last evening, this news came in, late on Diwali night, and of course plunged not just the film industry but all of Asrani's fans and other well-wishers into mourning. He passed away, of course, yesterday afternoon in Juhu at the hospital where he'd been admitted a few days back. In fact, his manager and the family had confirmed that, saying that he had some breathing issues, which is why he was admitted to hospital a few days ago. And despite, of course, the doctor's best efforts, he could not, be able to, he couldn't have a speedy recovery. Reportedly, there was water in his lungs, which finally led to his death. Yes, there was a small, last rites ceremony last evening in which, of course, he was cremated in a private crematorium in Santa Cruz in Mumbai. There will, of course, now be a prayer meeting where it's expected that other members of the film industry will come to condole the demise of the legendary actor. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Maharashtra CM Devendra Fadnavis, they've led the nation in paying tributes to him. We've also seen many other, members of the film industry also put out their statements. In fact, one of the statements that stood out because actor Akshay Kumar, who's worked with him in numerous films, because Priyadarshan had cast him in a number of films in the 2000s and the 2010s. That's how a lot of the younger generation also remembers him, Malvika, now through roles, in projects like Halchal, of course, and, Kyuki, and, Sajid Nadiadwala also had cast him in, many other films also. Of course, his last appearance was Non-Stop, Total Dhamal. But Akshay Kumar actually said that he was working with Asrani just about a week ago. And that is why he was pretty shocked at this development. I mean, he was shooting for a film a week ago as well. So there are two unreleased movies of his. One is Hewan and one is Bhoot Bangla. Those will, of course, come out, and those are interestingly both with Akshay Kumar. So that's some news, for the fans, that there are two unreleased films of Asrani. But that is what, of course, has taken everyone by surprise. Of course, he had been, ill, but he had not been seriously ill, which is why many people are, surprised and a bit shocked at this development, actually. But yes, it's sad news. 84 years old, Asrani had over 4 decades of entertainment that he'd given to people. Many films with Rajesh Khanna, of course, earlier. Rishikesh Mukherjee was someone who, of course, had spotted him first, urged him to go to FTII, and then, of course, also cast him in several roles. But everyone would remember him for Sholay. Asrani also, in fact, told a leading media house that, because Sholay has just completed 50 years, and he said that there's not a single function I go where I'm not asked to recite the dialogue from Sholay, Main Angrezon ke Zamane Ka Jailer Hoon. That, of course, was his iconic role, and of course it was an iconic film. So many performances. Everyone, of course, every fan of comedy will remember him, because Asrani's sense of comedy was amazing. Of course, though he directed as well later in Gujarati and in Hindi cinema. And of course, his contributions. In fact, there was a time in the 1980s, I think, where he acted in the most amount of films in a decade, over 100, in a period of 10 years. So many filmmakers couldn't imagine their films without some comedic, dialogues from Asrani. So Asrani, of course, has given a stamp on Indian cinema, and his legacy will certainly live on.
Well, of course, sir, iconic movies, iconic dialogues as well that will be remembered for a long, long time. And we are, of course, seeing tributes pour in. As you stated, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also condoled his death. But on that note, we'll be slipping into a very short break, and we'll, of course, continue to track the tributes that are pouring in for the legendary actor.